So is the fight over now?
We think it might be, but that happened many times throughout the day. You think you can rest and it's over, and then they pop up and attack again. The ANA is sitting down inside the little sort of courtyard next to the compound here and getting stoned.
The first thing they do in the break in the fighting is the ANA go get stoned.
Yeah.
Are they getting stoned on opium, or are they getting stoned on hash or pot, or?
They smoke a lot of hash. We don't know if it was hash or opium, but it was one or the other.
That guy looks pinned. That's opium for sure.
I don't understand they can smoke it in the middle of a battle. It'd make you worse, but they love it. As soon as they get 2 minutes, they'll start smoking it and passing it around. All laughing and joking, and then a minute later they're running up towards bullets.
He was so stoned that he went outside, stood up in full view of the Taliban, aimed just into the sky. A bullet fired the magazine off his gun, and he just picked up off the ground, laughed, and walked back inside.
Fucking mad!
Why?
Taliban, we haven't got enough ammunition to fire bursts like that. Short bursts. Short bursts.
Same question from the captain, are they firing at anything?
No.
That happened all the time. You'd hear this massive burst of gunfire, you'd hear one of the Brits go, "Are they shooting at anything?" And you'd hear someone shout back, "No." We saw that time and time again.
You can't clearly identify the enemy, you shouldn't be firing really. But trying to tell the ANA that is a different matter.
Is that all the ammo you've got left?
Yeah, that's all we've got left. We've got about 150 rounds left. But I think we've got to get up there about another K for our resupply route.
So you're running low on ammunition now?
Yeah, he's got 150 rounds left.
We need to start bringing in resupplies of water, food, and especially ammunition, because we're running low. Yeah.
Well, the boys are low on water now, but we don't
How long can they stay?
they carry 3 litres per man. It ain't going to last long. We've been on the go since half 3 this morning. It's now 11 o'clock, so 3 litres isn't a lot, especially when you're sweating as much as this.
How hot is it right now here?
Over 50 degrees.
It's over 50 degrees, which is like, I don't know, 120 degrees or 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're wearing flak jackets and helmets, so your balls are sweating pretty bad right now.
Dripping.
Dripping. And you don't have any water.
No, the water runs out, because how much water can you carry on top of all that kit? A few
So
litres.
you're fucked.
Yeah, all of us.
A 6-3 Alpha ICOM chatter suggests Taliban are pulling back in front of our advance, trying to conserve their own ammunition, cause us to expend all of ours, and then plan to counter-attack us as we withdraw. Over.
So what the Taliban are doing now is they'll shoot a couple shots, get the ANA guys to go crazy, stone, shoot all their guns off, and then when you have to retreat to get more bullets, they're going to kill you.
Yeah. That could be the Taliban's tactic for the entire country. They know it doesn't cost much for them to stay there and stay fighting. They know it costs Britain and America and everybody else a lot to be there, so they think they can outpace us. No problem at all. They'll say, we'll fight for 10 years, like me and you would say, let's go for a drink, let's go for a game of tennis. It's nothing.
So be aware that don't come down below 5.
That popping sound, that's not guns being fired, that's bullets breaking the sound barrier. And if you hear that sound, you're too close, you're like 3-4 meters away from the bullet. And there's hundreds of those popping noises.
You coming in?
So that's a bullet that just came through the door and hit the wall somewhere inside and covered us with dust.
Get behind the wall. Stay away from that fucking door. And once that target's destroyed, I'm hoping that this fire will stop. The air's coming in now. Wait out.
They've called in some planes with 500-pound bombs.
A bomb has been dropped out. Probably all of 30 seconds to impact.
Please don't land on here.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Twice in one day would surely be too much.
So you just said, please don't land on me to the bomb.
Yeah.
compound or did it go north over?
Yeah, I think he needs to go south. Yeah, he doesn't want to come any closer to us.
South by 20 to 30 metres as we missed that compound. How copy?
Indication of where that...
They called in a £500
How long?
which missed, and it wasn't that far in front of this compound. And they're trying again in about a minute.
So the bomb didn't seem to hit them. They're still shooting at you.
What happened there happened again and again and again throughout my 2 months there. You know, bombs get dropped, missiles, everything. It goes quiet for a minute. You think that's it. That's got to be it. And then you hear them pop up and fire back again. I think that's just fire from the British trying to keep the Taliban in place. When the bomb lands, they're still there. They have a chance to run away.
6-1 Alpha, heads down, 20 seconds, out. We'll be set further east.
I felt even closer than the last one.
So that's another bomb that they nearly hit you with, and then they nearly hit you again.
Yeah, a bit closer than the last
That
one.
was closer than the last one.
Yeah.
We'll just stay firm here. We'll wait for all the casualties to be dealt with and got out. They'll then bring the water forward, give everyone a chance to have some water, and then we'll recock and go in for those final compounds with skin X-ray.
Lads, get in the water out there.
And some guys went out to get some water. Came under heavy fire again. I think this time they've come under fire from that side and that side at the same time. And they haven't come under fire from that side so far at all today. Normally, when you hear fire like that, it's just because someone stuck their head out, someone shot, whatever it was. In this instance, guys had gone out to pick up water that had been dropped by a helicopter. So it's all quiet as they went out to pick up the water, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose from 360 degrees, and we know there are guys out there picking up this water.
We were short of water, short of batteries, plenty of ammunition, and plenty of Taliban. So yeah, all in all, good going apart from the water.
7 guys collapsed by the end of this day, and some of them were in life-threatening conditions. I saw one guy actually collapse, and I thought it was trauma or shell shock or something, because I'd never seen a guy. I mean, he took his top off, he tried to fight his friends who were going to pour water on him, he collapsed like a boxer who's been knocked out. I didn't realise that heat exhaustion can be that bad, and plus these guys are soldiers, so they're going to deny it to the last minute. You know, they're going to pretend they're okay and struggle on through until the very last minute when it's almost too late. Despite what's happened, the day is far from over.
Oh, far from over. It's not this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a very busy day, probably a couple of days, if not a week.
Eventually the Taliban withdrew and we just walked away. I don't know, they ran out of ammunition, something, they packed up and left, and it stayed quiet. And you know, within a very short time of leaving that compound, we heard over the radios that the Taliban had retaken all of those buildings that had been fought for.
And I believe we're going to go north, go firm, put a defensive position in, and then we'll have a nice quiet night in the valley tonight, by the look of it. Not.
If this small area of the valley takes this much of a fight to clear, how much is the whole province going to take?
Well, the country being like it is, it's classic, hit and run country. It's like Normandy. Hedgerows, ditches, ploughed fields, compounds, and these guys have got all the time in the world to set up what they want to set up and where they want to be, whereas we've got to advance into them to flush them out. So, the whole province, I don't get paid enough to tell you that. I don't know. I'm not going to guess.
How old are you?
41 years old, and I was supposed to leave the army this year, and I was gracefully offered 2 more years, and I took it.
Is this your last tour?
Probably, yes, he says, but I did say that last year in Iraq, that's going to be my last tour, and obviously it's not, so we'll see what happens.
Probably the biggest day I've had in my career since I've been in, I think, in terms of contacts. Been going since 0300 this morning. It's now 10 past 4 in the afternoon, 10 hours. So it's been quite a long day. it's not over yet. We've still got to move off to our next location and meet up with WFR, and then we'll see how we get on from there. But the boys have worked the nuts off as usual, so have the A&A. Everyone's worked really hard.
So when he says that's the most intense day I've ever had as a soldier, he's done tours of Iraq, Bosnia, Kosovo, Northern Ireland, Afghanistan. You know, so that's not said lightly when he says that.
Right. So Afghanistan has the fiercest fighting on the world right now.
Yeah, I mean the historians, these guys, they're all saying the most ferocious fighting since the Korean War.
Lucky today, we seemed to be near cover every time it come, didn't we? We're lucky. I'm surprised no one's a casualty today.
Is it manpower that means you can't hold on to
it's
ground?
manpower. We haven't got the manpower. There's not enough people out here. They're hard to fight, and it's very rare that you see them. Like most people here ain't even seen the Taliban yet.
So they can fight the Taliban all day for 12 hours, and they'll have never have seen them.
You might see a bit of movement, you might see a flash of light from where they're firing from. That's it. And they probably have seen lots of Taliban when they're not fighting,
They just
in the
don't know.
villages and the towns, but how do you know?
As soon as it starts getting a bit rough and it looks like they're going to get it, they'll fucking pick a pitchfork up and they're a Farmer Joe for the day. If someone's coming towards me on the same path, I cross the path. I don't want to let no one near me. I want to go home. They're the kind of people that believe when they die they're going to wake up with 27 virgins, and you know, so how can you fight against someone like that who doesn't give a shit? It's like as soon as I die I'll be going back to Tottenham, I'd fucking run at the bullets.
You regularly see guys like that just dumbfounded and think, how can you fight against someone who wants to die, who thinks that dying isn't an end, dying is a route to some kind of paradise?
So who's going to win that fight?
People regularly talk about how the Americans and British always beat the Taliban when they meet them in a fight. That doesn't mean the Taliban are ever going to give up. That's the follow-up point that most people seem to miss.
We'll come straight back to there tomorrow, but the thing is, because we've left it, we'll have to fucking start again. So it's pointless, isn't it? I mean, we don't know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's the hardest bit, not knowing.
You went in there, you fought all day, you got surrounded, people are dropping like flies from heat exhaustion, you nearly got bombed by your own guys 3 times, and then you had to leave, so the Taliban just went in.
Yeah, he said we haven't got the manpower to hold on to land. And it's the same thing with the border with Pakistan, they just haven't got the manpower to either hold on to land or patrol borders properly.
So it's all for nothing.
With the existing levels of troops, yeah.
I'd say yesterday was probably the hardest day I've had in 17 years service, and I think all of the others who fought in it yesterday would probably agree. It was 8 hours of unrelenting combat against a canny, wily, a determined enemy who was prepared to fight to the death. It's extremely difficult in the green zone to maneuver your forces.
Is there a danger that by flattening compounds, and obviously civilians are going to get caught up in the compounds from time to time, that you could lose the support of the population here entirely, that they could either become indifferent to you being here or worse, supporters and helpers of the Taliban?
It's a fine line. I think if we were completely indiscriminate in our fires, then yes, we could lose support quite quickly. As it happens yesterday, there was an attack aviation strike on a compound which had civilians and my men in it. I was fortunate that none of them were injured. It was me. Yeah, I directed that attack. I gave clearance for it to fire, and the responsibility for it lies on my shoulders. In this instance, I'm extremely lucky that there were no casualties, either friendly or civilian.
What do you think is happening in Afghanistan?
I think that is happening on a much wider scale. There's no evidence that the Taliban are even thinking about giving up. There's no evidence that a military solution is possible, and there's no evidence that the Brits, or the Americans, or anyone can control anything apart from these isolated bases and towns. So the Taliban have complete free reign, especially over the south of Afghanistan.
So we went in to kick the Taliban out. The Taliban are getting stronger and stronger. There's more drugs coming out than ever before. Why are we there?
Well, the most discouraging thing I've seen or heard from Afghanistan recently is when I was there, one town was left that was under control of the Taliban. That was taken just after I left. They put in charge a guy who's Taliban. He described himself as good Taliban. You know, that makes you think, why have we been fighting and losing people for 6 years when we could have done exactly the same deal that we've done today 6 years ago?